Alright, this lesson is about working with circles and their equations. In this lesson, we will have circles that are not necessarily at the center. They will have different centers, and we'll see what happens there. Please put your pencils down. Don't copy off of me. Learn how to do the problem, and then go back and make sure you can do it by yourself. Now, the general equation for a circle is x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to the radius squared. Alright, so with that in mind, let's do problem number 1. Okay, the center is going to be, you can think of it as the opposite of this and the opposite of this. So see how this looks like a -1? So it'll be a +1. And that's a +3, so we'll have -3. That's the center. Of course, the radius is going to be 2. We'll just do the square root of whatever this is. And then we could graph it. So 1, -3 would be right here. And then the radius of 2, so that means if we go out 2 in all directions, so our little circle should look like this. Alright, so that's number 1. Same thing here. The center is going to be 2, -1. Opposite of this, opposite of this. And then the radius is going to be 4. Again, we got that by doing the square root of 16. So 2, -1 would be like here, and if the radius is 4, we can go 4 in all directions. Alright, good enough. Alright, number 3. The center is going to be 1, -4. Alright, opposite, opposite. And then the radius is going to be 3. So here's 1, -4. If the radius is 3, I should be able to go 3 in all directions and be on the circle. Okay, that's the idea. Not the most beautiful circle I've ever seen. Number 4. See how this one is not adding or subtracting anything? That's because the x value is 0. And then the opposite of that is 3. So that's my center is 0, 3. Now my radius is the square root of 14. Okay? So those are the answers I need. However, you could take the square root of 14 and get a decimal, and that will tell you how to where to graph it. So let's see, square root of 14. Toggle it. So 3.7, or I'll write 3.74. Okay, that's the approximate value for the radius. So that will help me sketch it. So since the center is 0, 3, it means the center is here. So this is going to be a little bit more than 3.5 in all directions. So it would be like maybe here, there's 3, and there's 0.7, here's 3, there's 0.7, there's 3, there's 0.7. Okay, so this shows you what we are looking at. Alright, that's number 4. Okay, we need to write the equation in standard form and general form. Okay, we're given the center. So standard form hold on. Standard form should be pretty easy. So if we got the center and the radius, then standard form is just going to be like this. X minus 13 squared, alright, opposite of that one. Then y plus 13 squared, opposite of that one. And then here goes the radius squared, so that's 16. That's standard form. General form is the one that takes work. Okay, in fact, let me use up a little more space here. So because in general form, I need to get rid of all these parentheses. So let's start with the x minus 13 squared. So if I do x minus 13 squared, that's x minus 13 times x minus 13. Alright, and then I have to do the same thing with the y plus 13. Okay, and all of this, of course, equals 16. Let's start with this. We need to double distribute here. So that's going to, x times x is x squared. X times negative 13, that's negative 13x. Negative 13 times x, same thing. Negative 13 times a negative 13 is positive 169. Alright, now doing the purple one. So y times y, okay, I'm doing this. Y times y, that's y squared. Okay, y times 13, that's 13y. 13 times y is another 13y. And 13 times 13 is 169. And all of that equals 16. Okay, now I just need to collect this all up to make it into general form. So I've got my x squared and my y squared. Alright, they go first. X squared plus y squared. So I've got this and this. Next comes my x term. So if I put these together, that makes negative 26x. Okay, so I've got those. Next comes the y's. If I put those together, I have positive 26y. Okay, I'm combining like terms. So those are done. Alright, so that just leaves all my constants. Now, first of all, 269 plus 269. I'm sorry, did I say 269? 169 times 2. Alright, so that's 338 if I combine these two. And it's all equal to 16. For general form, you have to have 0 on one side. So I need to subtract 16 from both sides. So that will give me x squared plus y squared minus 26x plus 26y plus 222. I'm sorry, 322. I am very sleepy, you guys. I tried to go to bed early, but then as a result, I had to get up at 3 a.m. And now I'm just fading in and out. Afraid I'm going to fall asleep. And look at the mistakes I'm making. I subtracted the 16, and I wrote it anyway. I apologize. I'm probably going to make some mistakes. I am barely conscious. Okay, number 6. The standard form is going to be x plus 10. Oh wait, no, that's not the center. Haha. That's a point on the circle. Never mind. Never you mind. Well, okay, the standard form, looking at the center, is going to start off x plus 13 squared, okay, opposite of that, and then y plus 16 squared, opposite of that. Now, I'm going to need the radius squared right here, but I don't have that. Instead, I have the center and a point on the circle. So you got to picture that. If I have the circle, and then I have the center, and then I have a point on the circle, okay, like C and P, then the radius will be the distance between those. So my radius should be the distance between these two things. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to use the distance formula to find the radius. So that's x minus x squared, so that's negative 13 minus negative 10 squared. And then I've got plus. Now I'm doing y minus y, so that's negative 16 minus negative 16 squared. And this will give me the radius. So I'm going to put this in my calculator. Alright, please understand that minus and negative is addition, so I really could have written negative 13 plus 10, but I didn't, so there. So let's see, it's square root. Alright, so negative 13, and I'm just going to go ahead and do minus negative 10 for my kids that just are bad at arithmetic. And then you could square that. Alright, so I'm just showing that you could type it in just like this if you didn't know any more than this. So negative 16 minus negative 16. And that also is squared. So kabam! Oh, look at that. 3 is the radius. Okay, so the radius is 3. Now remember, right here is supposed to be r squared. In this formula. So I'm not going to put 3 right here. What am I going to put? Yeah, I'm going to put 9. That's a fact. Okay, so that is the standard form, my friends. Now the general form is the one where I multiply it all out. So I'm going to do that. So I need to do x plus 13 twice. Okay, that's an ugly 13. Let me just try that again. Alright, still ugly, but whatever. I'm not doing it again. So I'm doing that. And then I like to switch colors for the y part. So I'm doing y plus 16 times y plus 16. And that equals 9. Okay, so that's what's happening here. Looking at the x part, when I do my double distributive property thing, that's going to give me x squared plus 13x plus 13x plus 169. 13 times 13. When I do the same thing for the y's, I get y squared plus 16y plus 16y plus, I'm running out of space, 16 times 16, I forget what that is, 16 times 16, 256. I need to go right to the edge of the paper. So this is 256, and that still is equal to 9 over there. Okay, I need to consolidate. So let's start to put this in the proper order now. So I better put a line here. So I'm going to have x squared, and then comes y squared. Alright, next comes the x's, so 13 plus 13 is 26. Alright, so I did that. Now I'm going to do this. Alright, so that's 32 y. Now looking at the constants, if 169 plus 256. Alright, that's 425. That's equal to 9. But then we'll have to subtract 9 from both sides. Alright, and of course that's going to be 416. So the final answer will be x squared plus y squared plus 26x plus 32y plus 416 is equal to 0. And yes, the order matters. It has to be x squared and then y squared, and then the x term and then the y term, and then the constant, and then equals 0. The order does matter. Alright? And please memorize the difference between standard form and general form. Standard form is the one with the parentheses, and the general form doesn't have any. Alright. Please put your pencil down. Don't forget to put your pencil down. If you copy off of me on these next problems, you will have no idea what you're doing. You'll think you do because you watched me do it and you wrote it, but when the quiz comes, you'll be lost. So don't do that. Okay, so picture this right here, because this problem is talking about the diameter of a circle. And so, you know, a diameter is like this type of a deal. A chord going right through the center. So imagine that this side was the point 4, comma, negative 3, and this was your 18, comma, negative 13. This is the situation. Well, what we really need is the radius, so we can write the equation. But we will have to start off with the diameter, since that's what we're given. To find the diameter, we will use the distance formula. So the diameter, the length of the diameter will be the square root of, now this is going to be the distance formula, which goes like x minus x, so I'm going to do 18 minus 4 squared, and then y minus y, so that would be negative 13 minus 3 squared. So this is going to give me the distance. Alright, now I could do this piece by piece, but I think this time I'm just going to type the whole thing in my calculator as is. So if I do that, I've got square root of 18 minus 4 squared plus negative 13 minus 3 squared. Okay, so that's 2 radical 113. Alright, now that's the diameter. Alright, so if that's the diameter, then that means that the radius should be half of this. So if I divide this by 2, that's just going to leave radical 113. Okay, so I've got the radius. That's going to be helpful. Let me highlight that. Now I'll also need the center in order to write the equation. Now the center is right here. Okay, this is what I'm looking for now. But wouldn't that be the midpoint between these 2 points? Okay, so let's find the center by finding the midpoint. And remember, for the midpoint, you take the average of the x's and the average of the y's. So that's going to be 4 plus 18 divided by 2. All right, that's the average of the x's. And then it'll be negative 3 plus negative 13 divided by 2, the average of the y's. Okay, so let's see what happens. So that's going to be 22, right, divided by 2. So that'll be 11. Or should I just show it? All right, 22 divided by 2. This is going to be negative 16 divided by 2. So that is going to give us, so this midpoint will be the center. So I'm going to put a C in front of it to remind me that's the center. So the center is going to be 11, comma, negative 8. Okay, so look guys, now I have my midpoint. I'm sorry, I have my center and my radius. So I'm ready to do the equation. So the standard form equation is the one with all the parentheses in it. So that's just going to be x minus h, so x minus 11 squared plus, and then it's y minus k, but since it's already negative, it's going to wind up being positive. Or you can think of it as doing the opposite. So y plus 8 squared. And this is going to be the radius squared. So the radius is the square root of 113. But then I'm supposed to square that. And these cancel out. So it's just going to be 113. So this is the standard form equation right there. Okay? Now we just have to convert that over to general form like we did on number 6. Okay? So one more time. So this x minus 11 squared, that's x minus 11 twice. This y plus 8 squared, oh, I meant to change colors. Alright, this y plus 8 squared is y plus 8 times y plus 8. Okay, if I do this out, alright, I'm double distributing here. Okay, that's going to give me x squared minus 11x minus 11x plus 121. And then plus, doing the same thing over here, that's y squared plus 8y plus 8y plus 64 is equal to 113. Alright, if I start combining like terms and such, I'm going to get x squared, and then I need y squared. Now putting these 11 x's together, that's going to be negative 22x. And then next I need the y, so that'll be plus 16y. Now these constants, okay, I am going to have 121 plus 64, so that's 185. Now for general form, you have to have 0 over here, so I also have to subtract 113 from both sides. Okay, so that's going to give me 72. Yeah, so I don't feel like recopying the whole thing, so now I will. Gosh darn it. Alright, that is your general form. I probably should have put a box around this too, because this is your standard form. By the way, you need to memorize which one is which by name. Alright, so we're given the equation of a circle and then a point of tangency. So we're supposed to be picturing there's some kind of a circle. Alright, and then 3 comma negative 2 is a point of tangency. All right. Now the center is 0, comma 0, guys. In fact, maybe I'll do this on a little grid. Okay, so 3, negative 2 is right here. All right. So this is going to be pretty ugly, but you're supposed to picture there's a circle, you know, in here somewhere, and then you've got your line of tangency. All right, doing this kind of a thing. And that's the line that we're supposed to be finding the equation of. Okay, guys. All right, so this is our point 3, negative 2. So here's what you need to do. Consider the radius. And you don't really need a picture once you understand what you're doing. You won't need a picture ever again. But this is the radius I just drew in red. What we need is the slope of that radius. Okay? Alright, so radius. Alright, so for the radius, the slope is, see, we're doing rise over run. So see how this is down 2 over 3? So that's, alright, so I'm saying the slope is negative 2 over 3. I'm just looking rise over run. But also, look, if I didn't have the graph, look at these numbers, negative 2 over 3. I could have gotten that right here from the point itself. I could have just done y over x. Okay, negative 2 over 3. That would have worked as well. That only works when you're at the origin, 0, comma 0. But for now, let's use it. And why did I put slop instead of slope? I'm exhausted. Alright, so that's the slope of the radius. Now, what we need is the slope of the tangent line instead. Alright, so let's see. Tangent. Alright, for the tangent line, the slope is, now the tangent line and the radius are always perpendicular. So their slopes should be opposite and reciprocal. So if this one is negative, then the tangent will be positive. And if this is 2 over 3, then the tangent will be 3 over 2. So this is the slope of the tangent line. Alright, so first you find the slope of the radius, and then you opposite reciprocal, you've got the slope of the tangent. Then you can go ahead and find the equation using y equals mx plus b. Okay, so so next I'm going to find b. That's what I'm doing now, because we've got we know y equals mx plus b is the model for a line, like tangent's a line. So for y, I can use negative 2. For m, that's the slope, so I will use 3 over 2. For x, I will use 3. And then plus b. So that gives me negative 2 is equal to 9 over 2 plus b. So to find b, I would just go ahead and subtract 9 over 2 from both sides. Alright, now let's just use the calculator, guys. Negative 2 minus 9 over 2. That's negative 13 over 2. Okay, so b is negative 13 over 2. Okay, so I found b. Alright, so now I have both of the things I need. I have the slope, m, and I have the y-intercept. So now I can write that equation. Alright, so I can go ahead and write y equals 3 over 2 x minus 13 over 2. So y equals mx plus b. And that is how you find the equation of the tangent line. Okay. Number 9. Okay, the equation of a circle and a point on the circle. Right, equation of the tangent line. Alright, so this is the same thing, only this time the center is not 0, 0. So let's make a little picture. Alright, so this time they gave us a graph to use, so that's very generous. The center of this point, of this circle, we need to know that the center is going to be 3, -1. Okay, it's the opposite of this and the opposite of that. So let's graph that. So 3, -1. So here's the center of the circle. Now, the radius is 5. Okay, I don't think we absolutely needed to know that, but it doesn't hurt to know that the radius is 5. So that means, as far as drawing it, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so this circle is going to be out 5 in all directions. Okay. Okay, so our circle is going to be doing like this. And also, well, let's go ahead and draw that. Alright, so this is the circle that we're dealing with. Now, we're given the point of tangency, which is 3, -1. Alright, so 3, no, I'm sorry. This is the point of tangency, 0, 3. Alright, so that's going to be right here. Alright, that's the point of tangency. So the tangent line is going to be like something like this. Okay, I'll have to fix it a little bit. Okay. Alright, so the tangent line is doing that type of thing. Alright, I might not have it placed perfectly, but that's the idea. Okay, so that's what we need to find the equation of. I'll go ahead and make it blue. Alright, now, again, to find the equation of this line, I need the slope of this line. I can't find it directly, but what I can do is find the slope of the radius. So here's the radius going from here to here. So if I could find the slope of this line, okay, from the center out to the point of tangency, that's going to be my radius. Alright, so the slope of my radius, remember that's just rise over run. So if you see it, this is going up 1, 2, 3, 4, and over 3. So this is my radius, okay? So my radius has slope 4 over 3. Alright, you see it? But it's sort of 4 over -3. See, I'm going backwards. So this is going to be -4 over 3. Really, the way I know it's negative, if I stand back and see, look, is this going uphill or downhill? Alright, from left to right, this is going downhill. That's why it's a negative slope. But the rise is 4 and the run is 3. So 4 over 3 and then it's negative. So that's the slope for the radius. Now let's talk about the slope for the tangent. Alright, for the tangent, the slope is going to be opposite and reciprocal. So if this is negative, this will be positive. If this is 4 over 3, then this will be 3 over 4. So this is the slope of the tangent. Okay? Now, we need the slope, and we also need the y-intercept. Now we're going to find b. Okay, we found m, and now we're finding b, basically. Okay? To find b, we look at y equals mx plus b. So, if we want a y, we just need to use a point that's on the line. And the one point we have is this 0, 3, the point of tangency. Okay, so 0, 3, this is our x, and that's our y. So y is going to be 3. And then m, that's the slope. So that's going to be 3/4. And then x is 0. And then plus b. So I should be able to use this to find b. Well, anything times 0 is just 0. So this is just immediately is going to give me b is equal to 3. So check it out. I found the slope, and now I found the y-intercept. So I should be able to put those two things together to write the equation. Alright, now thinking of y equals mx plus b, this will be y equals 3/4, because that's the slope, x, and then plus 3, because that's the b. Okay, and that is how you find the tangent equation when the circle is not at the center. Okay? So if you did not have a graph, just understand that you could have found the slope by finding the slope running between the center and the point of tangency. You didn't really need a graph to do that. Do you remember the slope formula, you guys? Do you remember this? Slope is y minus y over x minus x. Okay? So if I didn't have a graph, I still could have found the slope by just using the center and the point of tangency, okay, and found the slope there. So if I did y minus y over x minus x, okay, so I'm showing another way I could have found the slope of the radius here. Alright, without, if I didn't have the graph. I could have done this, y minus y, so that would have been 3 minus -1. Alright, and then x minus x, so that would have been 0 minus 3. Okay, minus -1 is addition, so that would be 3 plus 1, which is 4. Obviously 0 minus 3 is -3. Okay, so you see I could have gotten the same slope of 4 over -3 or -4 over 3 from using the slope formula. Just make sure you're using your center and your point of tangency, which really are the only 2 points you had. So if you use the points you got and that'll be the slope of your radius, and then you can go from there. So you don't need a graph to be able to do that. Alright, I think I got them all. Alright, I think I remembered to tell you guys to not have a pencil in your hand, because you're going to have a quiz on this, and if you're just copying off of me, when the quiz comes, you're going to fail it, okay? So you need to go back and make sure that you can do these problems by yourself. Oh look, I skipped number 6. I'm going to have to go back and do that.